On today's episode of the Command Center podcast, we are recapping the Philly game. The defense played a little bit better than I think fans think. We're also in the final quarter of the season. We're doing a self-evaluation. We're talking playoffs.
Yes, we are.
Playoffs, and then we got Dallas week. It's a big week. Everyone's super excited. They're struggling a little bit, but it's a rivalry. You never know what's going to happen. Then we got hell yeah or hell no. It all starts right now. Welcome to the Command Center podcast. I'm Logan Paulson here with Fred Smoot and Santana Moss. And guys, got a lot of football to talk about. It feels like it's been a long time since this game happened because it happened on Thursday night. But let's talk about the Thursday night game against Philadelphia real quick. Let's start with our high-level thoughts. Fred, you always like to talk, so why don't you start first?
I felt like we played a high-level team that's in a Super Bowl window. I felt like for 3.5 quarters, we gave them hell, offense, defense, special teams. I believe we left a lot of plays out there. If that's a measuring stick, with them being a team in that window, think about this offense that I'm finna tell you about. They got the best offensive line in football. All right, they got a quarterback that can run and throw. They got 2 legit receivers, 1A, 1B. They got a tight end in Dallas Goedert that's servable in every way possible. And they got one of the most, if not the most, electrifying running back in football in the backfield. We held them off as long as we could until we couldn't. I cannot wait to play them again at home, not a short week, and not going through that Pennsylvania gauntlet. Yeah. We had just went through the Pennsylvania gauntlet. We had just played Pittsburgh, and then we played Philadelphia. Them 2 physical teams, I thought it took its toll on us, especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. You know, I said it a couple of days ago. Thought it was a game of missed opportunities. I think when you have a defense that, you know, hold an offense that he just mentioned that's high-powered to field goals, and then they go back and miss those field goals offensively, you got to get points. You got to do something, you know, when the defense giving you the ball back like that. And for us not to get points, for us to sit there and have the game, have the lead all the way up into the fourth quarter, knowing that we in their backyards, and it's going to get tougher. They're steady trying to get, hit a home run with that run game, and it just wore us out. You know, over time, I think our defense just couldn't hold on, and then like I said, offensively, we wasn't ourselves. And when things kind of got to the point where the defense really needed us, we just wasn't there. So it was missed opportunities offensively, but I think collectively it shows you each and every week, man, that this team is like
they're close.
Like this close to really being what we want from this team. I see it, but they just haven't got over the hump yet.
When I look at the 2 teams we played, though, what wonder they in compared to the wonder we are?
Yeah.
And that's why when I look at these games, I guess I ain't judging as hard as I could judge, because they are in the Super Bowl window. If they don't do this in the next 2-3 years, it's not going to be done. We are just starting our window. Yeah. And I think that's the difference. They are a mature team. Feel like this. They have maturity all around their rosters. The youth that Philadelphia has, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, their youth is playing beyond their years. So, I just feel like 2 different windows, but put it like this. We raise their eyebrows. They know we're here.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that more specifically for the Commanders and kind of compare to Philly in a little bit, and I think that's a good way to get that started. But, just in terms of, let's just double-click on the defense, I thought they did about as good a job as they could have done. Obviously, there's a couple plays. It's funny, when you're watching the tape, you're going through the plays, you're like, oh, here's this one explosive play to Saquon. But outside of that, it took – so I got to play – I'm trying to remember the exact number. It was 65. And then they had the –
explosives.
Then the explosives came. And so, for 65 plays, you did a great job defensively of bending but not breaking. Mike Sanders had a great game. I thought St. Juice did a good job when he was matched up one-on-one with A.J. Brown. Davis came in, did a great job. We talked about Chin. It's hard to be – again, for those 65 plays to overstate how well they did. Just the way they played their zones, the way they passed off concepts, the way they fit the runs. I thought it was just really a great performance. And to think about where they were, at the beginning of the season and where they are now, it's a completely different group. You know what I mean?
Grandmama cook, patience. They weren't going to come in with a new defense and 70% new players and just they're just going to hit that switch. They needed to mature in this defense and understand what Coach Witt wants and how he wants it done.
And with that being said, I think that's why you see the kind of, Fred said it well last week about these fans being spoiled, because what we thought would take time, they came out hitting on all cylinders, and now the fans are like,
where's the Super Bowl?
All right, we can't go backwards. And so, but what they failed to realize too, as players, we've been here. it doesn't always start and then you just keep going like this.
Yeah.
You have a moment where you just kind of like, you got to exhale a little bit. You like, all right, man, you know, we got, you know, like you saw Kansas City this past weekend, you know, like they've been knocking at the door to lose. Yeah. And then they finally lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it happens like that in this league because each and every team is going to be gunning for you.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. There are, you know, ups and downs to the season. There's ebbs and flows for sure. And again, we'll talk about that more specifically in a minute. I just want to touch on the offense before we move on to kind of some of those higher things. I think offensively, to me, watching it, it felt a little bit like I don't want to say that's not the right way to put it. It felt like Jaden wasn't ready. And I don't mean this like the coaches didn't get him ready for how good Philly was defensively.
Oh, right, I can see.
And it's like the way they play this kind of like weird quarters match kind of deal. And you don't really know like what they're in all the time. And I felt like there was a little bit of hesitation from him. And it wasn't like anything terrible. It's not like he played bad.
It just wasn't clear.
It wasn't clear. And then because of that lack of clarity, the rush was really able to get to him. We weren't able to run the football the way we wanted to because, again, that defensive line for Philly did a great job. So I think to me that's kind of where I fell. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's hurt. I haven't really seen that from him. To me, because, again, he played well. He played well against the Bears. That's right after the injury.
Can we agree this time of year? All 53 people are hurt. Yeah. All right, now, we might not be injured. It's a difference. Yeah. All right? But every guy in that locker room right now is hurt, and he just happened to be one of them that the microscope is on. I think it has more to do with the fact that these last couple of weeks he hasn't been able to practice. Now, he's been able to play.
I'm really glad you brought that up.
Now, the one thing about it is my timing is off on this throw. You said you were going to run that at 6, but you ended up running that at 5. Yeah. You lose these nuances when you don't practice, especially quarterback, wide receiver. Like, that's a timing thing because just because we was running this like this in the first couple of weeks, we switched this up. Now we're not running it like that. Yeah. So I think missing that valuable practice time, I seen it through the film.
No, I think it's a great point. Like, obviously, like, Philly did a great job, but I do think some of the – like, for example, like some of his rhythm on the throw, some of his footwork, you're just like, it's not at the beginning of the year, it was like
what we saw,
it was impeccable, and now it's just a little, and it's not bad. I don't want to make it sound like it's
just
bad,
off.
Just a little off, and I think it does affect his accuracy on throws. It affects because he's not like I watched a little bit of like Anthony Richardson this weekend or Josh Allen. They've got these just arms.
Cannons.
Yeah, they can like, it doesn't matter what my feet are doing. That ball
I'm about to let it loose.
And that's not really how he's wired. That's really not how he's built.
He's more of a smooth thrower.
Yeah, he needs his lower half in there. And so when it's not timed up well, I think it affects him. And so I think the practice thing is something that we talked about off air last week. It's like, how many throws does he get in practice?
He wasn't getting any.
Yeah. And so it's like, I don't care how good you are. Like, you need that timing. You need those reps. You need to understand, like, what you can and can't do. And I think it's definitely showing up. But I do think that they got a little bit of time off.
Oh, they needed it. Yeah. They needed it. Yeah. Like, they needed it. Talk about waiting on a bye week. Like when you got to wait for a Thursday night to be your short bye week because your bye week is in December, that's something different, man. That's crazy.
I don't know who needed it more, them or us.
Definitely that.
I've been saying
I was looking forward to it, so I know they looking forward to it.
Think about this. Think about the rookies on this team. They done went from their year of college and they first break come in bowl season, basically. Like, that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. It is unbelievable. And I think the other thing, too, is like you get this little time off, everyone's going to get healthy. But you said this already, Fred, but I can't get over that. They played Pittsburgh, very physical group. Yeah. Then they played Philly, very physical group. Yeah. And like they were all banged up. Like you look at the O-line, those guys are playing hard. Yeah. But Wiley's got a shoulder, Coleman's got a shoulder. Yeah. Allegretti,
Allegretti's got 4 or 5 injuries.
And then Biotish, like his whole left side of his body's messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
adding up.
It's just at a point of the year and people say, oh, like every team. It's especially hard on a short week to kind of bounce back into that. And we're not making excuses for them, and they're not going to make excuses for themselves.
This is just the truth.
But like,
this is truth.
As Tan always says, like we've played it. We know how our bodies would feel at this time of year, and it doesn't feel great. Yeah. And so I think getting a little bit of break, getting a little bit of recharge is going to be really, really important.
And then guys like B-Rob in and out of the lineup.
It stops the rhythm.
It stops the rhythm of everything that you're doing. Here go our identity, but no, it ain't your identity because the horse that gives us this identity can't play for 2 weeks. So it's just one of them things where it's the bumps and bruises are starting to add up, and I can see some players slowing down a tad bit, and that's why that bye week comes in just just get away from it for a second,
Yeah.
recharge.
I mean, even this 10-day period, like this is going to feel so good
Yeah.
for
To
you
them,
guys.
yeah.
Just mentally recharge. I think that's the other thing. Physically, you're banged up.
Yeah,
but mentally, the NFL season is so
Draining.
challenging
Yeah.
because it's like each week I got to be at 100, mentally and physically, and that wears on you a little bit.
Nah, it
Yeah,
wears on
yeah.
you a lot, man.
That's
It
how
wears
you
on
start
a
to
lot.
lose your hair.
I mean, that happened, recently. That's because I'm working with you, though. And so, that kind of leads us really nicely into our next point. So we're going to kind of do like a final quarter of the season self-eval. Like, where's the team at? You know? And so a lot of people say, the offense started hot. It's kind of cooling down a little bit. Let's start with them. I think we've already touched on some of the things, but I look at it and I say to myself, like, the reason that's happening is they played two really good football teams.
Yeah.
Super Bowl teams. Right now, if I was to ask 100 people.
I'm sorry, Fred, but think about what Pittsburgh just did to Baltimore.
That's what I'm telling you. Like, no.
I watched it.
Hey,
I'm
no.
sitting there like, okay.
No,
Right.
we played.
I'm convinced. And
we played the Steelers better.
I was going to say that. And not to say we was there with the game in our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lost the game the way we did. So trust me, bro. Go ahead and finish.
And what did you?
No, I want to hear it.
No. Did you see what they did to Lamar?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like I said that week when we played them, they like, why they stop him? They play
said
Lamar
they play
twice
Lamar
a year.
twice a
Like
year.
if anybody's capable of stopping this team, especially with that defense that they have, it's that Pittsburgh team.
Yeah.
We just played two teams that legitimately, all right. Tomlin, Super Bowl winning head coach. Quarterback, Russell Wilson, Super Bowl winning quarterback. They have a Super Bowl defense.
Yeah.
All right? And you talk about the Ravens, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
What's the weakness on their roster?
Dude, Philly.
They got names
and we
on top of names,
We
bro.
said this in the intro, right? In the preview show last week.
Yeah.
Definitely the most talented team we've played this year. And what I mean by talented is like,
It's a man.
look
Like,
at the corner, look
Yeah.
at the safety. Look, there's nobody you're like, oh, that guy.
They ain't that
Yeah.
good.
It's one thing having a good defense,
Yeah.
but then you got the names to go with.
the names
and,
go with,
and they
yeah.
out there playing up
Yeah.
to that, level.
Their status, yeah.
And it's across both sides of the ball. Like defensively, you're like, you got Carter, first round pick. You
Yeah.
got
Jordan Davis.
Jordan
first round
Davis.
pick. You got Nolan Smith, first round pick.
And Nakobe
Yeah,
Dean.
for the
Dean.
second
Yeah,
round
yeah.
pick. Yeah, then you go to the
Two corners.
first round picks, and you're just like,
Right now, nobody's even talking about Slay.
Yeah.
Like Slay is
Slay
the
the
forgotten
unheard of.
man.
Yeah, he the forgotten
He the
guy.
forgotten man.
Yeah, but-
this been your Pro Bowl.
and obviously Pittsburgh has this reputation of playing great defense, but I actually think right this second, and again, this we just talked about, season goes up and down.
Yeah.
Philly is, and this is not an indictment of Pittsburgh because they're doing a good job. Philly's playing better defensive football.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're playing better in the back end. They're more talented in the back end, and
Yeah.
it's showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I think that's important for people to understand. Like this offense is still good. Like
Yeah.
when you watch the film, there's still opportunities. There's still things like just the windows and the margin for error when you play good teams is like that.
I tell you like this, from what we saw and like we just spoke about, two teams that's very physical, and it's safe to say that we still went out there and didn't play our best game.
we went.
We didn't play our best game, and that's why we got.
But we went blow for blow.
Went
with
blow
them.
for blow. So when you're self, basically, I guess when you're self or critiquing yourself throughout the week as a player, and you can go out there and just say, man, here go a handful of plays where we just clean this up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even with us having those 3 and outs that we didn't have all year, the last 3 weeks,
Turnovers.
not even the turnovers, but we still leading these games in the fourth quarter. Basically having the game in the palm of my hand.
Think about the Pittsburgh game. I think that's a really good incomplete passes, drop passes.
Drops.
And so you hit that ball to Luke McCaffrey in the Pittsburgh game, probably win the game.
Yeah.
Hit the ball to OZ in the third quarter,
Yeah.
probably win the
Probably
game.
win the game.
Cosby makes his
you
block.
probably get the right spot.
Yeah.
You probably win
probably
the
win the
game.
game.
And
Yeah.
even on the play before that, they call a draw
Yeah.
to Jaden.
Yeah.
And Cosby doesn't get the block.
Quite
Yeah.
get there, yeah.
There's literally nobody else.
Yeah, he'll be still running.
He'll be still running. He'll probably run at least a field goal.
Yeah.
And so that's great. And then you look at like we're watching the film, again, the offense struggled a little bit in this game. That's a good defense, but there's opportunities where like if they hit this, if they get to this read, if they get that there's stuff there. So I think like
We
again,
was never out of a game with two Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah.
That tells me where
So
we're
that's why I say I don't even get there. I don't get caught up in the whole win or loss. I want to see our team playing good, meaningful football at this time of year, and I think they are doing that, and that's what you can hang your hat on, despite having all the different aches and things that's starting to show up. That's football; it happens. But like you say, this little 10-day period should give us a chance to clean some of that stuff up and give us a little boost because you got 2 more games for a bye.
Yeah.
You got these games to look forward to getting to that bye week.
And like we so beat up a little bit that our kicker was out.
Yeah, like 3 weeks, right? 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
2
like,
weeks.
And let's be honest, he's been kicking the Wilson off of the ball. Let's be honest. Like he has. Before he got injured, he was leading the league in made field goals.
But it's safe to say his backup is kicking the Wilson off the ball too.
But I'm just saying, like that tells you how beat up we are at a certain point if your kicker's hurting.
No, I think that's a great point. And so I think that context is important. And again, we're not making excuses. Like they want to win this game. The coaches want to win this game. We want them to win the game. Fans, your expectations are how you want them to win them too.
We're just reporting the news.
But I'm just saying, like those teams are good teams. And so
legit.
When people say, oh, is the offense regressing? Is Jaden regressing? When you play good teams, usually you don't play as well.
Yeah.
Like that's just,
and they don't play as well.
Yeah.
Like it goes back and forth.
Yeah. And so I think that's some good context there. And then the other thing, we talked about this a little bit already, is the defense seemed to be kind of flipping the script. You know, they started cool, now they're playing. Yeah, now they're maturing.
Yeah.
And what would you credit that to, Fred?
Time together, problem solving. The one thing about defense, we don't know how to correct something until we mess it up. We need to mess it up first.
That's got to be so annoying, I would think. It's got to be so annoying.
But you also have to have it in your head that you got us. You won't get us again.
They also playing better together too.
Yeah, we have an answer. Like they're learning how to play off each other. Like let's just use like Frankie Louvu. He just shot out a cannon.
Yeah.
Like, but when you got a player like that, the player that backs him up,
you got to figure out how to work with him.
I got to figure out how to play behind him
because he always gonna bring something to you.
He gonna bring something, but he gonna take some away.
Yeah.
So they're learning. Like that's why you're seeing Frankie shoots this gap, and who comes to clean it up? Chin.
Yeah.
Right? So Chin realizes this dude is 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I get down here quicker than I used to with the last guy I played with. So that's what they're finding out how to do it, especially in the back end. They're just doing this at a high level.
They played so well against Philly.
Said,
they just talk and communicate, and they're not letting each other get caught in bad situations. And when you play like that in the defensive backfield, we all shine, and we all protecting each other.
Not only are they playing, they communicating better, they reading each other a lot better. They playing the way Joe Witt said they gonna play.
Yeah.
They come
physical
with, and it's
bad
violent.
intentions.
It's violent.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I mean, when you see guys hitting each other, and Lou hit a guy so hard he hurt himself. He lay on the ground for a bit, like, oh, let me. But he doing the hitting. You know what I'm saying? So they're playing physical, and that's the way you want. I mean, you want them to. You want to see your defense playing with that kind of mantra. You know what I mean? You want to see them with that kind of. You know what I mean? Because you want guys to fear them when they on the field. You like, boy, look at here. I better make sure this clean.
I need to find out where Foe at.
Yeah. Every time.
And so I think a lot of fans would hear that and they say, oh, well, like they're not winning, or they gave up whatever, 29 points, or they gave up. But it's not, it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's like, you know, when you're not playing good complementary football, you give up explosive plays. Like you could play, that's the thing about defense that I find maddening. It takes one guy to make a play, but it also takes one guy to screw it up.
Just blow it up.
Like like for example, like, you know, you play, like I said, versus Philly, you played 65 really good snaps.
Yeah, consecutively.
And you have 6 bad ones.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about the 65.
Yeah.
They care about the one that you got out of your gap and allow Saquon Barkley to break this run. I got to report some news to you.
And that was a case of momentum, too.
Yeah, we can't stop Saquon.
Yeah.
We can slow him down.
Yeah, contain him.
Yeah, but he's not one of these guys that you just go out here and say, we're going to take him out of the game.
You heard what Saquon said, though. I think it was vital for what he said of what our defense showed him the whole night. He was like, we was a couple of runs away from hitting the big one, but the defense was playing so well.
Yeah.
They was there. And then that one time when they wasn't there, that's when he hit it.
That's when he do it.
Yeah, and I think, like, again, like that's where, you know, if we're playing complementary football, I know this team is good team. It's a good team, but they're not good enough to win one-sided.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not like the Detroit Lions.
They're not
like
there yet.
That the offense can just roll.
And that was riding for us earlier, the complimentary part of it. You know what I mean? You got us, I got you. You know what I'm saying?
And so I think, like, if the offense is playing better, they can't get some of those late runs. You know what I mean? And it kind of it balances out. So I do think the team is playing better defensively for sure. I think the offensive kind of cooling, we'll say.
I know that's playing good competition.
That's what I'm saying.
Good competition warrants things to change.
Yeah, and so I think it's important just to give it some context. Again, we want them to win. We want them to play better. All those things are true.
Yeah.
But I think the context there is important.
They're just like asking me while I was playing Smoot. What happened to y'all against the greatest show on turf? The same thing that happened to the other 31 teams that played them. Like, sometimes the other team, players get paid too, and they
And they're
make
good.
plays,
And
especially
they're
when you
good.
got no weaknesses.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about the greatest show on turf, you be like, "What a weakness?" And it wasn't Orlando Pace in that offensive line.
Yeah.
It wasn't damn sure wasn't that receiving group. It
How
wasn't
about,
Marshon
how
fault.
about the running back? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Marshon fault. Like, so it's like one of these things where
Oh, Kurt Warner maybe. No, he's Hall of Famer.
he's a Hall of Fame. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. But when I look at Philadelphia, that's when I look at this offense, I like, oh, we need to play
I
a lot
mean,
of cover.
low key, the weakest link is your guy Jalen, right? I mean, he just, yeah.
And he's playing good.
And he's playing well. But you know why he's playing well? Because the run game is
Yeah, so
and
good.
he is running more.
Now
Like,
he gets a
running
chance
more.
to use that, part of his game. But what's
Dude.
funny about that? We just spoke about it, and until you hear it, you can see it. You can actually visualize it. So now I understand how some of these fans feel when they watching our little pods or they listening to us on the radio, because they got to hear it to then go back and say, you're right, the competition was a lot better than the other guys, because the next day after that game, and you got a full dose of that night. The next day, if you listen to sports radio up here, if you heard the callers, I mean, you would have thought that the guys on our team hadn't been playing the other weeks.
You would have thought we were the Cowboys.
The guy was like, I knew it. They need another receiver. They can't do it without Terry. No, bro, we've been doing it without Terry all these weeks. It's just the competition level has risen.
Yeah.
And when it rises, then you have to find other
ways to get things done. Because a great team ain't gonna let you do what you
I mean, I think that was great points from both of you guys, because if you're not thinking about it, you're like, oh yeah, just play two of the best defenses in the league. Of course, you're going to not be the same,
and we're not being hyperbolic.
Yeah.
Over the last, what is it, 5 weeks now?
Yeah.
Philly is the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay. Pittsburgh is a top 5 defense since the beginning of the season.
The beginning of the season.
So it's not like we're just throwing those numbers out there. It's like those are factually supported. And it's not like it's early in the season where they played 2 games. Like, what week is this? It's like,
we're in the belly of the beast.
we're in it now.
Yeah.
So again, like that's so important. And the other thing I just wanted to bring this up too is think about your expectations at the beginning of the year, fans. Think about that.
I had none.
0.
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden, well coached, well executed, good talent acquisition.
Well, get my ticket to New Orleans.
Yeah, right, 100%. And they punched up. They punched up for sure.
Yeah.
And I look at like when I was in San Fran in 2017, right? They were a good team, but not a great team.
Yeah.
And what they go out and do? They added Deebo Samuel. They added Brandon Ayuk. They added Christian McCaffrey. They added George Kittle, right? And they added some Fred Warner, right?
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams. That's a great point. And so it's a good team, but to get it to be a great team,
some players have to mature.
Yeah.
While you add other players. Yeah. You're not gonna fix a team in
look
one
at
year.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Like,
Lord have mercy.
Dan Campbell came in and they were a good team.
It's almost like if they don't get to the promised land, it'd be like a waste. Like,
but they in their window.
No, they
in their window.
But it wasn't like first year. This is, what is this, the third year?
But it's crazy. You know what's so good about Detroit? And this is something that I think a lot of teams are going to look at, because this league has got to the point now where you have 2 good coordinators, whether the defense or offense. Somebody want to take them and make them be a head coach.
Yeah.
They not all fit to be head coaches. Let them do what they do best.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see Detroit able to keep both of their guys after their extravagant years of last year and say, let's run it back and see if you can even add
we
more
finish
to
what
it.
we started.
So it's going to be hard to keep them now.
Yeah.
But now you might have a chance to hopefully get to the Super Bowl. We don't want to see them knuckle. We won't be trying to get there, at the same time. But I'm just saying, far as you actually get the chance to see these 2 coaches flourish at what they do best, instead of now taking on a different role, being a head man.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that's just something to talk about there. The other thing I thought was interesting is I've been getting this question is like how many wins do you think it takes to get Washington? Because I think, what's the record? 7-4?
7-4.
Is that right, Caroline? 7-4?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 7-4, how many more wins they need to get to the playoffs?
I look at it like this, and I know Fred going to have a different, he probably have a deeper dive with it. As long as they take care of what they got to take care of, our division, then you can worry about all the other wins out there. I'm more so worried about defeating the guys that we see twice.
Yeah.
You defeat them, you set yourself up to be there.
That's why Tanner's the man. He's not going to play the game. He's not going to play the game.
Yeah,
we got to beat Dallas, dude. We got to beat Dallas.
Exactly. You beat the guys that matters the most.
You got to finish the season. You want to finish strong, regardless of how it happened. Like, some guys going to draw a line in the sand. We got to get to 10 wins. We got to get to 11 wins. Then I must ask you, Are we fighting for a wild card, or you still want to win the division? Because we still have the ability to win this division.
Yeah.
Like, so there go the whole thing. And like Tanner said, let's just control what we can control.
Yeah.
And that's just taking it one game at a time. Like, let's make the Cowboys look like they stadium falling apart.
Yeah.
Let's make the Cowboys look like they hate their owner. Let's make the Cowboys look like they quarterback by Cooper Rush.
Do they need help with that? All those things are true, right? If City is falling apart, they do hate their owner.
Yeah, like they emotionally, physically, and mentally beat apart.
Yeah.
You could see it in how they play.
Yeah.
You can see it in their interviews.
Yeah.
Like they frustrated at a point. We've been there.
Yeah.
We've been there.
They at that point to where
Breaking point.
a breaking point, because you can see the fight in them early. And soon as a couple plays happen,
It's over with.
All right, we are who
back.
we are.
Yeah.
You know?
We've been a part of teams.
Plenty of them.
Yeah.
like that, right?
Plenty
Where
of
it's
them.
like, hey, we're in it, and then it's like, nah.
Not really.
And then you got one or two guys that are still fighting like, get this shit up. You got London out there cussing everybody out on the defense. Y'all be like, London, sit on down, bro. Sit on over here with us.
So this is a question that I got from a fan.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting question, and I don't really know how to answer this because, like, to me, so basically it's like, for this to be a successful season at this point, do they have to make the playoffs? So if you would have said, hey, Logan, they're going to win 7 games and Jane Daniels going to look pretty good, I'd be like, that's a winning season. Like, that's successful.
But we didn't want them 7 with 6 to go.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. Like the start, it's like running track. If I'm running against 10 in a 100 and I look up them first 40 yards, 50 yards and get out of there, they expecting me to finish this
You
thing.
better finish it. Yeah.
Like they expecting me because guess what? You wasn't expecting me to jump out like that.
Yeah.
Now, if we would have jumped out to a slower start, they would have took what's coming. But they have been in the playoff window since what, week 5?
Yeah.
I just
And
think,
currently they're 7th in the they've got the final wild card spot.
and with the other teams being 5 and 5.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm as a person that worked here, as a fan, playoffs.
Yeah.
The bar set too high.
Not even that. I think more so is just finishing strong.
Yeah.
You said it. You got to finish strong. You can't look like things falling apart or winding down.
Just getting in there.
You got to look like the team that, hey, okay, we saw you hit a stride.
Yeah.
We saw you regress a little bit when that period of everybody's kind of nicked up. So now let's hit that stride again once you get, you know what I mean? I just think I think it's more so just finishing strong, because if you finish strong, then the win's going to come with it. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? We are in that window where, like, we talked about Detroit and Philly and Pittsburgh. They're in what we call a Super Bowl window.
Yeah.
We going to enter the playoff as the team nobody wants to play.
Yeah.
Like, we're not the Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah.
We're going to come in there as what Detroit was 2 years ago. Nobody wants to play them. And they probably win a game.
Yeah.
Like, nobody be shocked if we went into the playoffs and maybe had to play Tampa.
You got to think
Falcons.
about it. Daniel Jones won a playoff game. Like, think about it. And that was and I'm not saying this to pick at Daniel Jones.
Tobias
But
Jones.
remember that team. Remember that team, how they finished that year?
Yeah.
They finished battered and blue, and people was beat up playing against the Giants.
Yeah.
And we said it all the time. Like, that's one thing about those Giants. And if he can ever play well enough, they'll have something. So when you see that team and you saw how they got into they finished strong. They got into the playoffs, and then they had enough going with them. They won that first round. So I just want to finish strong, man. I think when you set the bar the way we've set it, like I said, we came in no expectations. But their play spoke for them. They didn't come out here chirping about what they was going to be. Oh, we got this guy, we got Jaden. No, they came out here and say, we're going to allow Jaden to show us that he's the guy over time. And then when he's the guy, we're going to put him in there. Defensively, we want to play like this. A lot of these guys might not be here because if they can't play like this. We saw guys come in and go. And then now they started playing. And before you know it was like, you hearing Rydell's clacking. You seeing guys scoring touchdowns. So that set the tone with showing you how well they can play as a team.
Yeah, that leads us really nicely to our next segment, which is, have we seen the peak of this team, and have we seen kind of the final version, like AP's final vision? And to me, the second part of that, no way.
Not even close.
And the first part is I'm kind of curious because the NFL season's crazy. Man.
Yeah, but guess what we are ready for because we've been in the locker room. We are mentally prepared for the ups and the downs.
Yeah.
We knew this season was not finna just – the arc was just constantly going to be here. We knew we was going to go through some peaks and valleys, and we was ready for them. The fan base, not so much because they was on this high. And this wasn't just no sugar high. It was week after week after week. Like, we are kicking Keister. Can you believe it? And I'm like, but we're going to have to come back down at one point. And guess what? Coming back down, guess what they give you the ability to do?
Yeah.
Go back up.
Yeah.
All right, so they gonna catch their stride, but I knew we was gonna. You just can't play the caliber of teams we played and thought you were just gonna make it out of there and you was just gonna be okay with nothing to say. I don't think we peaked because I think we still got a lot of stuff to show on offense, and I feel like the defense is getting better and better and better.
Yeah, I feel like as well as we played this year, it wasn't.
We still had to play the perfect game.
Bingo. And not even that, because it's nothing perfect, right?
Yeah.
But we hadn't seen we hadn't seen all phases show up together.
Yeah.
You know, it was games where the offense just looked
Just blew people
phenomenal
away.
and defense just hung in there. Like,
Yeah.
hey, man, you gave up a lot.
Yeah.
But we was doing so well here, we was able to kind of like, you know, not make y'all look like y'all went out there and just laid the egg. And then now you see a little reverse in that.
Yeah.
The defense has risen their game tremendously. Offensively, we didn't fall off.
No.
We just hasn't played our best game because some of our opponents has been that much better.
And
You know what I mean?
also we haven't been as efficient. You know what I mean? Like I think about the Pittsburgh game, man, and I kick myself about that game. And again, just as what, because there's open people, there's opportunities,
It's plays to be made,
and it just we didn't quite hit them. Philly is a little different, like
divisional game.
yeah,
They
short
know
week
us.
divisional,
Yeah.
tough deal. But like to Tana's point, like if we hit 4 passes and we don't drop 2 balls, like. What do we, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different.
We're walking away.
But that's why we play the game. That's why we are able to go back to the table and say, man, look, let's take this out of what we've been doing, because right here, this is why we was in the game that we was in last week.
Yeah.
This is why when on third down our numbers has dropped tremendously because we're not doing these little things
On
before
first
those
down.
on first and second down.
Yeah.
So that's why we play the game. That's why we get paid the way we get paid, because we're able to go back there and correct those mistakes.
And I think another great point there is some of the best learning moments in an NFL season come in losses.
There ain't no some.
Yeah.
The best.
Them the biggest lessons.
Because I can't learn nothing from the Hail Mary. Because we know how.
Yeah.
We know how malign that play is.
Yeah.
I can learn some from me getting beat on the play with Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
Because I got to play him again.
You know how valuable that lesson was of me dropping a pass in a critical situation. Because that next time in that critical situation, I don't care what's around me. I'm gonna watch that ball till it hit the blade of grass. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure I come down with it. So those lessons are valuable, man. Like you can't get no better
can't pay
lessons
for it.
than going through it that way. You know?
I mean, that's real, and it's cool hearing it from like Santana. Like,
And not me?
Well, you would never admit that you made a mistake.
Yeah,
you know,
I always
Fred, you know,
do.
he was the best
Come
thing
on,
since sliced
I
bread.
ain't gonna lie. The one thing about playing cornerback is a
gotta
position
make
of
mistakes,
failure.
yeah.
It's kind of like going into the batting box.
No,
if I can go 3 for 10,
Bro,
I can be I'll stop.
I told you had to be the most illest dude to ever play. Cause Fred had been done gave up a pass, and then you hear him running back on the side, and you ain't do nothing. You do it again. I'm like, boy, this boy just gave up a pass, and he talked to the fan like, I don't hear that.
Hit me out there when I got cooking.
Trust me, I love the fact that at corner you had to have a mind like him. Like that's like if you had to say cornerback, I want to see him. You had to put a picture of anybody that played the position. I ain't talking about the greats. I'm talking about who you want to play corner. Fred Smoot. No, he don't care. And the same way he don't care when he'll go ahead bleep that out.
Get it.
But he don't care, bro. The dude no. And then guess what?
Yeah.
He gonna come back and make a play.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
100%.
And that's who you picture as corners. Corners, like that's why I played the position before. I played it at a young age. That's the most toughest position ever to me. And that's why I say those guys, you know, I know we going a little off script, but when talking about pay, why they're not getting the highest pay? Because, bro, they got the hardest job.
You got to do what great athletes doing. The 1%, you got to do what they doing going backwards.
Yeah.
Why the world watches you be flawed.
I think it's because there's a lot of variance in the position.
Because
know,
you can
like the
use
schemes and different
the help.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that and like offensive line, because you're reacting to some of the best athletes in the world.
Yeah, we have to react.
Yeah.
But yeah, so speaking of reacting to the best athletes in the world, obviously, one of the things that I look at with the defense specifically, obviously the full team hasn't played together, and I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Like, one side showed up, the other hasn't. But also, I think Marshon Latimore, when he comes back or when he's available, like that's going to be something
love to see that. I
that
can't
elevates the floor of this defense.
See, I know you ain't a car dude. But
Car
see,
dude.
Santana was a car dude when we were young.
Yeah.
It ain't nothing like walking out there in that garage. And you got them fly automobiles out there, but you just
You
added.
see that one over there.
You just added that Maybach over there. You just added that. Hey, listen.
That
You
boy
got a
got them
Maybach
24s
somewhere?
on
That's what I'm
that
saying.
thing.
Hey, but when you add that over the top vehicle,
Yes, Lord.
all right, and you can't wait to drive it.
Yes,
and that's what
Lord.
Marshon Latimore is. We just added one of the best cornerbacks in pro football.
Yeah.
So I understand why the fans want to see it. But on this one, when it comes to them soft tissue injuries,
Man, you gotta be careful.
hey, if you
Let
don't
them
be
things
careful, you won't have it when it really matters.
Listen to the hamstring, soft tissue king himself, my boy, bro.
Yeah, you.
Them things may pops. You hear me? I walk into the training room pulling one. Oh man, where I get that from? Nah, them things ain't nothing to mess with. And that's why I was always big on having somebody to like. Once I learned the game though. Once I learned how to make sure I don't have to worry about those.
No, because you went into prehab mode.
I started.
Tanner went into prehab mode, so he didn't have to rehab. So you'll catch Tanner before
icing out the practice.
Yep.
You know, I would have my guy in my house already waiting for me, flush them legs out.
Put your hot pads on.
IV, hyperbaric machine. You know what I mean? I had chiropractic because most of the time when you pulling hamstrings, groins, and
Your
all that
hips
stuff,
off.
your hips off. And I stay with a hip. I have a shorter leg.
Yeah.
And folks never knew that. I never knew it.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, don't you have a problem back here in your back? I'm like,
Sciatic.
how you know? He said, because your hip is jacked up.
Yeah.
And when he pulled that out,
Yeah.
I feel like a new man. I'm like, damn, I just got taller.
Yeah.
They got to put me down at 5'11" now. 5'10" and a half.
Put me in the post, coach. Where Draymond at?
I'm 5'10" and a half now. I ain't 5'10" either. You know what I'm saying? No, ain't nothing to mess with though.
No,
Yeah.
it's not, and you got to be safe, especially at cornerback, because like you just said, we are reacting.
Stopping and going.
We reacted. So you make a cut, I ain't gonna know if my hamstring good until I make that cut.
But you know one thing too, just to kind of chime in a little bit more on Latimore, what we do defensively, schematically wise, I can't wait to see him because he's a guy that had so much pressure on him, and I watched him when New Orleans defense was really potent when they had Aaron Glenn over there.
Yeah.
You saw the way he played man to man. So just imagine what we'll be able to do with a talent like that when we say, okay, guess what? We need you to shut this side of the field down. We finna go let these boys go ham over here. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to see that kind of, that side of our defense because I know we have the coaches that's going to dial it up.
Coach Witt is finna have a field day.
Yeah.
Because you got to realize he kind of been hamstrung on what he can and what he can't run because of the situation in the back end. And for somebody to say, I'm here for the rescue, and not only can I rescue, I'm going to play top-notch ball.
I can elevate.
As a fan, if you're watching this game, watching us play week in and week out, and you want to have a reason to give Joe Witt Jr. his flowers, just watch how better our cornerbacks has been playing.
Oh, my God.
St. Juice, I mean, I know people going to say what they want to say about St. Juice, but when you look at his numbers, PFF numbers,
way better.
besides those one or two passes here that he might PI or gave up, the man playing lights out. So you have to give all those guys their credit.
And Sanderson's last game was incredible.
And
A.J. Brown.
Sanders came off the bus playing like he's been playing.
And this when you get a force multiplier like Marshon and Latimore, that makes Sanderstr's job a lot easier.
Watch how much better Forbes be.
Yeah.
Because now you got a guy you really can learn from. Like you can really say, man, this is what I guarantee you. Latimore, as being a well savvy vet that he is in this game, he gonna look at Forbes one or 2 days in practice and say, okay, this is what you can do.
Yeah.
Now do this every time
and do it at a high level.
And you know what that does to a young guy who listens to a guy who's a veteran who played the game at a high level, who's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what he say because he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And so obviously we don't know if he's going to play this week. We're still kind of waiting to hear on that. And,
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Thank
that he does.
Lord for Cooper Rush.
But we got Dallas week, boys.
Yeah.
Dallas week.
And it's like the perfect week to get Dallas while they in turmoil and we coming off a short.
Misery loves company, so we licking our wounds, they licking theirs too.
And their wounds are a little different than ours.
Yeah.
They kind of bleeding to death.
A loss is a loss, though. They all feel the same.
They all feel the same. But you know what? It's been a long time going into Dallas.
So you
week.
that guy like to kick somebody when they down. You get a joy of that.
I am.
You want to stump all over.
Because I got my uncle and cousin, them that's Cowboy fans, and I be calling. They won't answer the phone. That's why. Listen.
I can tell you one of them damn cousins, boy, I hate to see.
We ain't taking no mercy on them. We are not finna come in here and let them say, you know what, we understand y'all going through a lot. We don't care.
This is a time where, as a team, whatever you working on, and I'm not saying you can't take these guys lightly. Like I say, this is our division.
Yeah.
So one thing about our division, they're going to play each other tough. And it's Dallas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got a lot of pride. And they know Joe Witt and Quinn. Yeah. So they're going to come in with their hair on fire trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
But this is a time for us collectively to say this is when we go play our best game. This is where we go get back into what we trying to be as a team and go hit on all cylinders. And that's what I want to see from my guys. Offensively, defensively, special teams. This should be that game where we sit and say, screw what they got going on over there. I don't care about their turmoil. We got to go out here and get better. And this is where we get back into the thick of things.
Yeah, so let's talk about their offense a little bit. Obviously, Cooper Rush is playing.
Yep, thank Lord.
And Cooper Rush, I think, does a fine job. I don't know what to say.
No, this dude here, man.
It's true, though.
Dude, man.
Listen to me.
So just something that I wanted to point out before we get into bashing Cooper Rush.
Yeah. I'm not bashing Cooper Rush. You said I did the same thing to Daniel Jones. Now look at him.
What?
You said I bashed Daniel Jones.
But DeVito ain't gonna look no better than Daniel Jones, though. I'm sorry, bro.
Dude, how wild is it? They're like, hey.
First of all, I'm gonna make him pay for every dollar I gave him. He playing. If I'm the guys over there with the Giants front office, Daniel Jones is playing. I don't care how many 70
they don't want him to get hurt.
Bro, then it's guaranteed money.
Always money guaranteed.
Oh, so that's what it is.
Yeah,
but
always money guaranteed.
You know what's crazy is
that.
it's not a coincidence the third string quarterback's playing there. They're making a strong push here for the.
But guess for the first pick, they won't because they just skipped Drew Lock.
So you think
Drew Lock? I've been the second string quarterback.
So you think so what quarterback you think they want? As far as in the draft,
Probably
anybody
Shador.
Not named Daniel Jones.
You think?
I think they'll want Cam Ward.
I was going to say Cam or
for star power, they want Shador. Now I don't think Shador is perfect for that New York stadium.
Yeah,
I think Cam Ward.
That win ain't
gonna be good for him.
Yeah,
but I think they in the Cam Ward sweepstakes right now. I think that's where they at.
We'll see. I mean, I do a little bit of draft prep at this
Cam
time of year.
or I ain't gonna lie, might shock everybody. Travis Hunter might go out there and be first taking over all, man.
It depends on
especially if he win the trifecta.
Yeah. But if you got the pick and you know that first pick is usually quarterback pick.
Usually quarterback.
You trading down 1 or 2 picks.
But I think the thing that draft is a long time away.
Yeah, long time.
Make sure you check out Ticket to the Draft when draft season comes up. But
it's gonna be my show this year.
Yeah, Fred does a great job on it.
If I'm the Giants, I get on the phone with New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
And I want Joe Milton.
But he's not going to be your starting quarterback. Though.
Man, listen, I'm building from scratch. All right, Joe Milton got some talent, man.
Yeah, but he can't see the field very well.
Oh, you talking about a guy from Tennessee?
Tennessee, yeah.
We're getting a little.
Man, that's what podcasts do. We don't stay on the what's name.
So let's talk about.
All right, back to the Cowboys.
Cooper Rush.
All right.
Cooper Rush. We owe him. We owe him. Because I remember 2-3 years ago, I went to that stadium and Cooper Rush put on a show on us, boy. Made us look bad.
Let's make Cooper look like Cooper.
Yeah.
Let's make Cooper. Let's make the Cowboys look like the Cowboys. Let's show no mercy.
Yeah.
Like, let's show no mercy on their fans. Let's show no mercy on their team.
Because you know a lot of their fans already up
owner.
here.
Like, let's bring it down. Let's bring the gauntlet down on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so let's talk about Mike McCarthy's offense a little bit. It doesn't seem to be overly dynamic at the moment. They're not running the ball super well, kind of stagnant pictures. They do a good job of moving CeeDee Lamb around the formation. But I went and watched their explosive play cut up. It's not like they're scheming you up off a play action and here's this guy.
They're not moving people around.
It's like, let's run vert. So here's CeeDee Lamb on the backside and you're pressing him. We're going to run a go.
That's it.
So I think as long as you kind of be smart defensively, you know, not overly aggressive, understand the situation, understand the tendencies, I don't think Cooper Rush can kill you. Well, I mean, he's an NFL quarterback.
He's an NFL quarterback. But he ain't going to be a constant 4-quarter threat.
Yeah, and then also their offensive line beat the hell up.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was dropping the other night. So just knowing what we're going to do up front is going to be, one of those things that you got to look at because will he have time to do all that stuff? Will they change their game plan knowing what they're going to get from us defensively up front? Getting the ball out of his hands a little quicker, doing some things that they haven't done. They're going to have to switch it up because they can't show nothing the stuff we saw Monday night. They don't want to come in the game plan with him dropping back 5-step drop reads because it's going to be a long day for him. I don't think
Mike McCarthy know nothing different.
But the problem is, he even said it.
They can't run the ball.
Yeah, they can't run the ball. I think that's the issue. It's
Rico Dowdy.
I think you could.
You one-dimensional then. That's
you could insulate him, I think, if you could run the ball a little bit because I do think he makes good decisions. I think he can make throws. I think he can do some stuff like that.
He's a pro quarterback.
But the problem is when he has to carry you,
that ain't what he is.
Yeah, right.
That ain't what he is. And then you got Rico Dowdy who can't really run between the tackles. He like to get on the outside. And Zeke retired 3 years ago. Didn't tell nobody.
He told somebody.
Yeah, listen.
Zeke, he looked good last year, though.
This ain't last year. Zeke out there with a navel ring. Listen, look in the mess.
Just said navel ring.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, you know he had his shirt tucked up. I think he got it pierced.
Man.
He got his navel pierced. I'm telling you right now.
This dude.
It's looking a mess.
So, and Tan already talked about it. Their offensive line is banged up.
God.
You know, Zach Martin is a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
But he's on definitely the downslope of his career. You know, Cooper Beebe's playing well, but he's a rookie center.
Baby.
Tyler Smith is probably the best player on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Young, explosive. You can see him moving people off the ball in pass pro.
He's not getting a lot of playing time right now.
Guyton is not playing great. Again, he was raw coming out of Oklahoma, still needs some developmental runway. And Terrence Steele is a little bit nicked up. He's kind of always negotiating that knee injury he had a couple years ago. So they're okay, but think about that. That for a long time was the absolute backbone of that group.
It was the offensive line. That's always been. When they're great, that offensive line is great.
And so that group's not quite what they've been. But again, like they do have offensive playmakers. And I think that's the thing that's hard to negotiate here is like when you watch like what's his name? Tolbert last night.
Yeah.
Takes a slant.
And takes it out. And he got one call back.
Yeah. 60 yards for a touchdown. Like and then obviously Lamb.
He can make plays.
Probably a top 5 receiver still. I don't know. Maybe.
Easy. He up there. I mean, right now their team ain't playing well. So,
Top 10, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But they probably got the best kicker in the league. I'll give them that. They probably got the best kicker in the league.
Yeah. And then Luke Schoonmaker's doing a great job for them, and the tight end. And again, like his ability to kind of
has been phenomenal
like win one-on-one matchups is like so they have pieces.
Yeah.
So they can hurt you.
Yeah.
But you got to just play consistent football. And I feel really good about the defense right now, the Commanders, because they've been playing really consistent football.
Yeah.
They've stopped the run well, and they've been really disciplined in their pass coverages. Right. And when you're playing a team that's not overly complicated, it makes it you can speak.
Get to simplify.
Well, they one dimensional. So when being that they're one dimensional, it's hard for them to even establish something good or sustainable because of if you can't be able to say, okay, I'm gonna put into somebody's gut right now. I got to keep dropping back the pass. Before you know it, we gonna cover, and then who you gonna throw the ball to? Because you ain't doing nothing else.
You got to throw it down, check down to the back.
Cooper Rush and sack. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a team they can't run the ball and they just dropping back ad nauseum, and the quarterback getting his behind. He gonna be with Dak. So,
I'm seeing and I
don't want to say that.
I'm seeing
but
a head coach.
Oh, do you think Trevor Lawrence plays in this game?
I told you I had a little sixth sense about it.
You mean Trey Lance?
Trey Lance will play. I knew what he meant.
Trey Lance,
yeah, he gonna play
guaranteed to have a package because I watched Mike McCarthy, Coach McCarthy talk after the game, and he said, if I regret one grit in this loss, and that was not getting Trey Lance in this game. So why not come with that, especially if it's red zone, especially if it's third and short, and we just said they ain't got no running game. What's the best thing? The best thing, a quarterback that can run.
You saw how Pitt used your boy Fields Fields might be a running back.
Fields, about how he turned that corner.
You see how he got in the game and for those run plays? I'm like, man, Fields, you might need to
chill out a little bit with that.
No, he might need to change position.
Nah, I'm going to stay at that quarterback.
I know he's going to stay. I'm just saying, but I look at it like that with Trey Lance. You know what I mean?
If he was like Taysom Hill, I think that would be a great utilization for him, right?
Yeah.
Like find ways to get like those.
Yeah, because Taysom Hill is phenomenal. His role is
big plays.
Yeah.
Like when you come in there,
man didn't run a kick.
We can never it's 10 against 11 on defense. Yeah. It's only 11 against 11 when the quarterback start to run.
When have teams stop putting the best 11 on the field? You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Like, he might not be your starting quarterback, but if I can use him, give him a package or two where he's in there with Russ, and now I have the defense, He's
your answer to we can't run the ball with the running backs we got.
Yeah.
We can't run it with them. We got to run it with him.
So, maybe Trey Lance is the guy that Dallas brings in, have a package, and that would be
They don't get no better, though.
Yeah, but again, like, it's the O-line struggling. There's just...
Yeah. Because he's gonna throw it up for real to you. We're gonna have a couple picks if he ain't not throwing it.
Yeah, 100%. So let's talk about the defense. And I think the defense is a different problem. Yeah. Because they actually have some people that can play good football.
They have good defense.
They do, but I think when you look at what they're dealing with, there's no different from last year.
To do?
They're 31st in run stopping. So guess what?
I think they're even worse than that, aren't they?
B-Rob finna have that chin scrap tight buckle real tight this week.
Yeah, considering what's his name just scored 3 touchdowns on him.
Who that?
I think
Joe Mixon.
I think they're 32nd.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, we can basically go out there and just say, man, this is gonna be one of those downhill.
on
We're
Rydell.
gonna run this ball all day until they quit. You know.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Tanner, because one of the things I think that's been tough for this team the last couple of weeks against the Steelers, against the Philly, is one of the things that was such a defining feature of the offense was first and second down running.
Run in there, rock.
And they haven't been able to do that. And so that puts more pressure on Jaden Daniels. It puts more pressure on the O-line and pass pro. But against this team, I wish I could look up the statistic. Maybe Caroline can help me out with this.
Yeah.
I think they're 32nd in rushes seen, and they're 32nd in rush yardage.
So they lost one from the other day. Then
I think so. I think everyone's just like, run the ball.
Yeah.
Like, and they can't stop it.
They can't. But guess what? Also, the brainchild that we had here with Coach Quinn, Coach Witt, and the rest of these coaches that came from Dallas, they know everybody on this roster's strengths, and they know Michael Parsons' weaknesses. They know these guys in and out. They know how teams attack them when they were coaching these guys, and they know, all right, this is how you. To me, if I got Michael Parsons first and second down, he gonna have to scrap his chin scrap up because I'm giving him a big dose of B-Rob.
Yeah.
So when it get to third down and it's time for you to pass rush,
you better be tired.
You ain't there yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure he ain't gonna be tired though, cause that dude there, man, he got a motor on.
He's an animal.
No, he got a motor, but it's
something
a way.
special
I
about
just
that
seen him
dude.
being wore. I just seen him being wore down.
I mean, he can't do it all by himself.
He can't
do it all by himself, and I think that's one of the things that's missing too on that defensive front. They had another guy, Lawrence, another guy.
Lawrence, he's a pass rusher.
Yeah, but he hasn't been there, so it's like it's
he's
just
been
all
out.
on Parsons to do everything. He can't.
Mozzie,
he ain't gonna be able to stop the run and pass. And then they one of their better linebackers. He went out the game last night too.
Not Overshawn.
14.
Overshawn.
Yeah, Overshawn. Yeah.
Overshawn has had a year.
Yeah.
So, like to be a rookie, he ain't played like no rookie.
Yeah, he's been playing.
Yeah,
well.
so they are talented. I think, Zimmer's obviously defensive coordinator. Yeah, I always thought of him as like a quarters, kind of exotic third down pressure guy. But
I didn't see Zim defense and his hardcore way of doing stuff fitting with this group.
Yeah.
With that Dallas group.
It doesn't show up.
It doesn't show up.
Yeah.
They do some stuff on third down that's interesting. They play a lot more cover 3 than I thought they would do. So again, like they're a good group. I'll say it. They're a good group.
Yeah.
But they're not like the groups we've seen the past couple of weeks.
No, they're not.
And so I think if we can come out, run the football, maintain possessions, I'm not. Cooper Rush is an NFL quarterback.
Yeah,
but,
definitely that.
But
I
don't think they can run the football effectively.
No,
and I think
they got holes in their team.
Yes.
Just be honest.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. They're not a perfect team. They're not a perfect roster.
And then and I think also too with that being said, this is the game where a team like that comes out there and say we gonna all the stops. It don't matter what we have.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
we gonna let it.
If they got the reverses, the trick plays.
You saw last night they went out there. They had a trick. They had a fake punt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
we gonna see it all.
Better believe, you know what I mean? They're gonna come out here and say, look, we gonna let it all hang out because we had nothing else to really,
I can see them trying to go back and redo that fake punt that Pittsburgh missed.
Yeah.
I can see
Oh,
them
yeah, the one
faking the field goal.
Yeah.
I can see them most definitely digging into the bag of tricks because they know they can't.
Especially with having that returner that they have. He's so dynamic. They're gonna find a way to
but they can't line up just man for man and beat us, and they know that. So they're gonna have to be forced to pull out some of that trickery, that tomfoolery.
So Tanner, you were right. Rushing yards per game, they're 31st. Time of possession per game, they're 29th. Points against per game, 31st. Total yards against per game, 27th.
Got everything they deserve.
Yeah. So they're obviously. I think they've got some talented pieces, but they can't stop the run.
They getting everything they deserve.
that cousin, boy.
I mean,
he walk by, that's what you get.
Hey, you getting everything you deserve. The Cowboy fans, listen to me. Everything that they're getting right now, they deserve it. Plus 10.
You're
Like
an
I
animal,
always
man.
said,
You're an animal, dude.
Hey, nobody ain't gonna feel sorry for you.
They just not. Like,
Nobody ain't gonna feel sorry for you, bro.
I'm looking at the game last night, this $1 billion playpen. They done talked about our trap house over there. No, they talking about our stuff. They got silver sink shingles, rum down there. They were like, we probably can't play the game. Why? Because the stadium fall apart. Did you know they were about to call that game? Did you know that?
No.
Really?
Oh, we did see something fell from the sky. But you got to think, too, they just had the little boxing match there a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So probably was still stuff, debris
They
hanging.
tried to open the roof or something. I don't
it fell
know.
out. Yeah, the thing
and
fell.
it fell out. So then the referees got together. They like, if they don't go up there and fix it, we probably can't play this game.
Could you imagine if something fell during the game? Could you imagine how crazy that would be?
Yeah.
Oh, my
I
God.
would be at home sitting just like this saying, they deserve everything that's happening to them right now. They told you the sun hitting in here through the window anyway.
Yeah.
The first thing they showed with the boxing match, they showed the
blinds.
They showed the blinds, and they were like, "See, he put the blinds up for the boxing match.
he
He
put
won't
it
do
up
it for his game."
Well, how about he take the silver piece of stuff and put it over the window that fell in the stadium?
So obviously, I think we feel pretty good about this matchup. But I will say this:
Yeah.
it is a divisional game.
Take nobody
against an
like that.
NFL
Yeah,
team.
take nobody
and
like that.
one of the things that Dan has done a great job every single week is being about that week.
Getting them
Yeah.
guys ready.
And so I just want to see the best version of this team this week against the Cowboys. Get out of here with a win. Let's stop all this talk about, regressions and blah, blah, blah. Let's win this
Let's
game.
get back on the good foot.
It's a division opponent, so I want to see us get back into that winning mode. Offensively, defensive, special team wise, playing the kind of football we can play.
100%. All right, now it's time for hell yeah or.
Hell no!
Oh, damn, that was,
to the no.
dude, that was really good.
Hell to the no!
Both you guys.
They called me the fifth
right.
Vandross brother, Lutheran.
Stop. All right. So, number one, defense holds the Cowboys to under 300 total yards.
Show us his name, Cooper Rush.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm going to say hell yeah.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
If they can't run the
Hell
football
yes.
and he's got to win the game from the pocket, don't love that.
You
if
gonna
I'm a
be
Dallas
seeing
fan.
ghosts.
I don't love that.
I see ghosts.
Hell yes.
Hell yes. So I think, hell yeah. All right, next one. Jane Daniels has 3+ touchdown passes now.
Oh, 3 passes. Okay.
I say hell no. I gotta
seems
be.
like a lot.
I say he get 2.
Yeah.
I
He
think,
might-
it's
might
time,
rush
for,
one.
I
Hell
think
no.
it's time for him to eclipse. I think, because Bo Nick's been throwing that.
I think we're
thing.
gonna run the ball. We're gonna run the hell out of the ball though.
But that also tells
think
me
so,
in the
too.
red zone we're gonna play action it. Like, listen.
It's true.
Depending, you're right.
You know what I'm
Depending
saying?
on
So I can see, I'm gonna go, hell yes. Because I know he wants to
3+.
3+.
I'ma
If you
say
ever
hell
gonna
no.
do it on Dallas, this is the time.
is-
Come on. Listen.
Hey, I'm gonna go back to this shit, boy.
Hey,
You are loving this, boy.
Hey, Trayvon Diggs is out there playing with a hole in his calf.
Yeah.
What?
You ain't know that?
No.
Yes. And last time I
Hole in his
checked,
calf?
yes.
Something going on.
Yeah, he has a hole in his calf, and he playing through it.
He had a nice pick versus Philly. by
I'm
the
gonna
way.
say, you run behind that
That's all he
Corvette
gonna-
named
yeah.
Terry,
Yeah.
and you got a hole in your tie.
Yeah.
It's a chance he can go past
What do you mean
you.
he got a hole in his calf?
No, he has a tear
Yeah.
in his calf.
Yeah, in his
Okay.
calf. All right.
In his calf.
Dude, that's terrible.
And Terry gon'
You
rub
say
out.
hell yeah, I'm gonna say hell no.
I'm gonna go
I
hell
say
yes.
2. I say at least 2.
I think I'm gonna say hell no. I think he'll have 3 total touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll be passing.
I think we need to go back and look at these prior hell yes and hell no to keep real score.
I've been on point. I've been watching.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it.
Hey, a pair of lips will tell a lie.
Like yours always.
All right. Commanders control the game flow. 30+ rushing attempts.
Hell,
Hell
yeah.
yes.
Hell yeah.
Hell
We're
to
going
yeah.
to run it down their throat.
I think so.
We're going to do this for
everybody get a little piece of that though.
Yeah, we're gonna
You know
do
what I
this
mean?
for Jerry
Everybody.
Jones.
A little B Rob, a little Eckler,
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
Jaden, all 3 of those guys.
I think so. I think, again, I think they're going to get first downs. I think they're going to be able to rush the ball a ton. Again, when you can't stop the running the football, like Tana said, you can't run the football and you can't stop the run. It's a bad formula.
You
in the
can't
NFL.
stop anybody.
Yeah.
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
All right. So I feel pretty good about that. I think that was a good show, guys. Got a lot of ground covered there. That's
Got
going to
off
do
the
it.
wheels a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple times.
But
Talking
that's
about the
what
draft.
we do.
It's a podcast. If you like that, please leave a comment. Tell us if you liked it or not. So that's going to do it for today's show. Please make sure you like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to watch us on YouTube, you can definitely do that.
Hell yeah.
But in the meantime, that's it.